Welcome to the Ultimate Survival Challenge. In today's video, we're diving deep into the realm of wilderness survival techniques. We've all heard of these methods, but how many of them actually work when put to the test? From the traditional flint and steel fire starting method to the unconventional battery-based ignition, we're testing it all. And it's not just about fire, we're also putting our shelter building abilities under the microscope, exploring everything from the humble lean-to more complex insulated structures. But survival isn't purely about warmth and shelter. We're going to be testing water purification techniques from boiling to solar stills and even portable filters. And let's not forget food procurement, where we'll be trapping, foraging, and fishing our way through the wild. So are you ready to venture into the wilderness with us? Join us as we venture into the wilderness to test these techniques. Fire is an essential survival element. Let's see which techniques work best. When it comes to survival, fire is your best friend. It provides warmth, cooks your food, and keeps the predators at bay. But starting a fire is not always as easy as it seems, especially when you're in the wild and resources are limited. Today, we're going to test 3 popular methods of fire starting: friction fires, ferro rods, and battery-based techniques. First up is the friction fire, a method as old as humanity itself. By rubbing 2 pieces of wood together, we aim to generate enough heat to create a spark. While this method is time-tested, it requires a lot of effort and patience. Not to mention it's significantly more challenging if your materials are damp. Next, we have the ferro rod, a modern take on the classic flint and steel. A ferro rod, when struck with a sharp object, produces a shower of sparks capable of igniting a tinder bundle. It's faster than the friction fire and works even in wet conditions. However, the downside is that you need to carry this tool with you, which may not always be possible. Finally, we have the battery-based method. By connecting a battery to a piece of foil or steel wool, you can create a short circuit that generates enough heat to start a fire. It's fast and requires little effort, but it's heavily reliant on having these specific items with you. So, which method comes out on top? Well, it depends on your situation. If you're well prepared with tools, a ferro rod or battery could be your best bet. But if you're caught unprepared, knowing how to start a friction fire could be a lifesaver. As we can see, not all fire starting techniques are created equal. Remember, the key to survival is adaptability. By understanding and practicing these techniques, you'll be better prepared to face whatever the wilderness throws at you. Now let's see how these shelters stand up to the elements. In the wild, having a sturdy shelter can make or break your survival odds. A well-built shelter can offer protection from the elements, provide a space for rest, and even boost morale. But what does it take to create a secure refuge using only what nature provides? Let's find out. First off, we have the classic lean-to. This simple structure is constructed by leaning branches against a strong backbone such as a fallen tree or a sturdy branch. The lean-to is a quick and easy option, but it may not provide the best protection against heavy rain or wind. Next, we're tackling the debris hut. This one takes a bit more time and effort, but it offers superior insulation. By piling leaves, grass, and other debris over a skeleton of branches, you can create a cozy, well-insulated haven. It's like a natural sleeping bag, keeping you warm even in the coldest weather. Now, if you're in a snowy environment, the quinzhee may be your best bet. This dome-shaped shelter is built by hollowing out a pile of snow. It might seem counterintuitive, but snow is actually a great insulator and can keep you surprisingly warm. And lastly, we're building the A-frame. This design is a bit more complex, requiring more materials and time. But when done correctly, the A-frame can be one of the most sturdy and weather-resistant shelters you can build. Each of these shelters has its strengths and weaknesses. The lean-to is quick but less protective, the debris hut is warm but time-consuming, the quinzhee is great for snow but impractical in other climates, and the A-frame is sturdy but requires more resources. So how do they stand up to the elements? Well, in terms of warmth, the debris hut and the quinzhee come out on top. For durability, the A-frame is hard to beat, and for water resistance, it's a toss-up between the debris hut and the A-frame. But remember, the effectiveness of your shelter also depends on your building skills and the materials available. So practice, prepare, and know your environment. A good shelter can mean the difference between life and death in a survival situation. Water is life. Let's explore how to make it safe to drink. In the wild, water is both a lifesaver and a potential threat. The water you find in nature can be teeming with harmful bacteria, parasites, and viruses. so it's crucial to purify it before drinking. Let's dive into the various techniques you can use to ensure your water is safe. First up is boiling. This traditional method is effective and quite straightforward. All you need is a container, a heat source, and of course, patience. Boil your water for at least 3 minutes to kill off most pathogens. However, remember that boiling doesn't remove chemicals or particles, so it's best paired with a filtering method. Next, let's talk about chemical treatments. Iodine tablets and chlorine dioxide drops are commonly used in this method. They're lightweight, easy to carry, and kill a wide range of microorganisms. However, they do take time to work, up to 4 hours in some cases, and can leave an unpleasant taste in your mouth. If you're out in the sun, solar stills can be a viable option. This technique uses the sun's heat to evaporate water, then collects the condensation. It's a slow process but can be effective in sunny, dry climates. But remember, it's not the best option if you're in a hurry or if it's cloudy. Finally, we have portable filters. These devices are designed to remove bacteria, parasites, and often some viruses. Some even filter out chemicals and improve the taste of the water. They're compact and quick to use, making them ideal for on-the-go purification. Each of these methods has its pros and cons, and what works best will depend on your situation and available resources. But no matter the method, the goal remains the same: to ensure you have clean, safe water to drink. Remember, clean water is crucial for survival. Food is next on our survival checklist. In the wild, the supermarket is nature itself, and the currency is your knowledge and skill. You've got to know not just where to look, but what to look for. Let's dive into the world of trapping first. Traps are an efficient way to catch small game using minimal energy. From simple snare traps to more complex deadfalls, we're testing a variety of trapping methods. Remember, the key to successful trapping is location, location, location. Identify animal tracks and trails and set up your traps there. Next, we turn to foraging. Nature's pantry is full of edible plants, berries, nuts, and mushrooms. But be warned, it's also filled with poisonous lookalikes. We're testing our ability to identify safe, edible foods. It's a delicate balance between risk and reward. When it comes to foraging, knowledge is your greatest ally. Now let's cast our lines into the world of survival fishing. No fancy gear here, just a basic line and hook and maybe a primitive spear. We're evaluating the effectiveness of these methods and their feasibility depending on the body of water and the types of fish available. As we test these techniques, we're evaluating their practicality, reliability, and the skill level needed. We're considering factors like the time and energy invested, the potential calorie return, and the risks involved. The wilderness might not offer a 5-star dining experience, but with the right skills, it can provide sustenance. Whether it's a squirrel caught in a snare trap, a handful of wild berries, or a fish speared from a creek, procuring food in the wild is a challenge that tests both your knowledge and your resourcefulness. But remember, securing food isn't just about staving off hunger. It's about maintaining strength, boosting morale, and ensuring survival. After all, a well-fed survivor is a more effective survivor. So whether you're an experienced outdoorsman or a novice adventurer, honing your food procurement skills is crucial. Knowing how to secure food can keep you alive when stranded in the wilderness. Getting lost is easier than you might think. Let's look at how to find your way and signal for help. Being in the wilderness can disorient even the most experienced among us. That's why it's crucial to have a basic understanding of navigation. We've all seen the classic compass and map, and they're certainly reliable tools if you know how to use them. But in today's tech-savvy world, GPS devices are also a handy tool. They can pinpoint your exact location and guide you to safety. However, remember that technology can fail, batteries can die, and signals can be lost. This is why having a backup plan like the good old compass and map is always a wise idea. Signaling is another vital survival skill. It's not just about surviving, but also about letting others know where you are so you can be rescued. There are many ways to signal for help, some more conventional than others. Reflective mirrors can be used to catch the attention of a passing aircraft or search party. They work best when the sun is out, so consider the weather and time of day. Smoke signals, on the other hand, can be seen both day and night and from a considerable distance, but they require a source of fire and can be influenced by wind direction. Whistles are also a great signaling tool. They're lightweight, portable, and their sound can carry far, especially in calm weather. 3 short blasts is a universally recognized distress signal. Remember, in a survival situation, it's not about being subtle, it's about being noticed. Let's also not forget about ground-to-air signals. These can be anything from symbols made with rocks or logs to brightly colored fabric laid out in a clear space. They're designed to be seen from the air and can be particularly useful if you're stranded in a wide open area. In a survival situation, getting found is just as important as surviving. So, arm yourself with these navigation and signaling techniques and you'll increase your chances of making it out of the wilderness alive. After extensive testing, it's time to compile our results. Let's dive into the ratings of each survival technique we tested, based on practicality, effectiveness, and the skill level required. Starting with fire creation, the ferro rod came out on top. It proved to be reliable and quick with a moderate skill level required. Friction fires, while traditional and practical, needed a higher skill level and took significantly more time. When it comes to shelter building, the lean-to, a structure as old as time, proved to be the most practical. It was quick to set up and provided adequate protection from the elements. More complex insulated shelters, while effective, required more time and a higher skill level. Water purification was a crucial test. Boiling water was the most effective and practical method, but required fire and a container, adding an extra layer of complexity. Solar stills, while innovative, were slow and required intense sunlight, making them less practical in certain situations. In terms of food procurement, trapping came out on top for its effectiveness and practicality. However, it required patience and a certain level of skill. Foraging was the most accessible method, but the effectiveness greatly depended on knowledge of local flora and fauna. Finally, for navigation and signaling, the trusty compass and map proved to be the most practical and effective. GPS devices, while modern and convenient, relied on battery life and signal availability, making them less reliable in remote areas. As for signaling, mirrors were effective, practical, and required little skill, making them an excellent choice for any survival kit. So there you have it. After rigorous testing, we found that traditional methods often proved most effective and practical, albeit requiring certain skill levels. However, modern innovations also have their place, offering convenience and speed in some scenarios. Knowing which techniques work best can help you better prepare for any survival situation. Remember, it's not about mastering all techniques, but understanding what works best for you and your environment. And most importantly, never underestimate the power of practice and preparation. After all, in the wilderness, knowledge is the key to survival. Surviving in the wilderness isn't about luck, it's about skill, knowledge, and preparation. We've journeyed into the heart of the wild, testing a variety of survival techniques to see which ones really hold their ground against the unforgiving elements. We've sparked fires using everything from traditional flint and steel to modern magnesium fire starters, discovering that while old-school methods have their charm, modern gadgets can offer speed and reliability when conditions are tough. Our shelter building challenge saw us constructing everything from simple lean-tos to more complex insulated shelters. We found that while all shelters can offer some degree of protection, knowing how to build an insulated shelter can make the difference between a cold, sleepless night and a restful one. Water, the elixir of life, proved to be a tricky foe. We put several purification methods to the test, and while boiling and portable filters stood out as the most effective, we learned that having a variety of techniques up your sleeve can be a lifesaver when resources are scarce. Our food procurement trials had us trapping, foraging, and fishing. Each method had its own set of challenges and rewards, but one fact remained clear. Knowing how to identify and safely prepare wild edibles is a skill worth mastering. In the maze of the wilderness, our navigation and signaling tests were crucial. We found that a good old compass and map, paired with knowledge of the landscape, can guide you home. But if you're lost or in danger, knowing how to signal for rescue effectively is just as important. In conclusion, there's no one-size-fits-all survival technique. It's about having a versatile set of skills and knowing when to use each one. The wilderness is unpredictable. Your survival strategy should be dynamic and adaptable. Did you find our survival test informative? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you have a survival technique that we didn't cover, or perhaps you've got a survival story to share. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below with your thoughts. Stay prepared, and remember, nature doesn't forgive easily.